But I genuinely want to be the richest man on this planet. Like, I want to be above Elon Musk, number one, like 300 billion net worth, whatever it takes. No matter what, my goal is to be number one on this planet. And if I don't reach it, if I reach number two, I'd be grateful. But I just want to know that I gave it my all to become number one.
Hello, namaste. Zarna Garg Family Podcast here with a brand new episode, and all 5 Gargs are in the house. You are not going to want to miss this episode. It is going to be heated. It is going to be emotional. It is going to be juicy, and you are going to have feelings on it. I guarantee you. The topic today is how we never feel like we're doing enough. We never feel like we're succeeding. Other people are succeeding over us. When is enough enough? When is it we've made enough money, we've found enough jobs? When is anybody else feeling like the world is winning and we're not? Because we're all feeling it, and we're gonna get right into it. And all 5 Gargs are in the house. Let me not waste any time. My husband of 26 years, Wall Street veteran Shalab Garg, my daughter who just finished college and is now working with me, Zoya Garg, my son who's in college and working with me, Bridge Garg, and my middle schooler, Veer Garg. Does anybody else in this room feel like all their friends are winning and they're not?
Do you think if you asked this question of Jeff Bezos, he would say the same thing?
Probably. I'm sure he's annoyed by somebody who's doing something. I'm sure.
I see.
Don't you
So,
think? I mean, or do you
I
think?
don't know. I
Do you
don't know
become
anybody
like
worth $200 billion.
do you
worth.
become the richest man in the world and think, I did it all?
Yeah, but maybe he's lacking in like an emotional aspect or something. There's always something that can be better.
I mean, he just got married. Maybe he's not a good example because he's probably not lacking in an emotional aspect.
I'm just saying there's always something that can be lacking. Something
But do you
that,
feel that way, Veer? Do you feel that way in your life?
No,
No?
I don't.
You're in a Buddhist state. You're like, I have it all.
I'm not. I always want more, but I don't feel like I don't have enough. Does that make
Wow.
sense?
Also,
Right.
because Veer doesn't have any direct responsibilities.
Right
Right.
now. I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't even
It's
say
not
that's true.
a feeling.
I'm
It's
saying,
not
does a
a-
child always feel like, doesn't matter the child of a really poor person or a rich person, but the child always feels the same, especially if he or she is in a loving family. It's not like a child wants $1 billion, right?
Right.
Okay, wait.
So
Didi,
you
I want to
think-
ask you a
you think-
question.
Okay, God. I feel like this topic is really targeted.
No, it's
To who?
targeted at me. It's not targeted at anybody else.
Who is it
I
targeted
genuinely
on?
feel that way. I'm constantly upset that I'm not doing enough. I can't.
I mean, I feel that way. I don't feel, I feel that way. I felt that way since I was a college graduate.
Yeah,
I felt
I mean,
that my rank at
I
IIT was not high enough, or low enough, I should say. I felt that my degree was not smart enough. I didn't have enough GPA. I didn't get promoted enough. I mean, I felt that all my life.
forget
Effectively.
college student. I feel I was born out of the womb like this. I imagine that I was watching other kids building towers with the building blocks, and I was like, oh my God, my tower's not good enough. And in fact, I actually remember as a 5-year-old going to the beach, and people's sandcastles would be so much more intricate and elaborate than mine. And I would spend so much time watching YouTube videos about how to make sandcastles. And why was I doing that? I'm not trying to be a sandcastle connoisseur. I don't understand.
Bridge, do you feel that way?
I mean, I'm a little confused on the discussion. Like, are we talking about competitiveness, or are we talking about what can
We're
you
talking
clarify?
about, do you feel like, is there ever enough? Is it ever enough? Do you feel, I love this topic. I do
Do you feel
like-
satisfied, Bridge? I mean, it looks like you do feel
Yeah.
satisfied.
What? How could I possibly feel satisfied?
Because you equated it to competitiveness, which it clearly is not, and you're smart to know that.
I mean, I don't know where satisfaction comes from any of that, but okay.
But
I think
satisfaction
that-
is not a bad thing. Anyway, it's not like he's saying a bad thing.
Satisfaction is the
No, I think
antidote to
satisfaction is-
competition.
I think satisfaction is the worst thing in the world. I don't think you should feel satisfied until you've reached a place in where you can feel satisfied. I'm definitely not satisfied. I think for me, it comes down to whether I'm gonna. I've told this many times. I want to build something that's very successful and earn my respect with that successful company or product or whatever I build. And I think that's when I'll feel satisfied and I'll be able to go to rest, is when I create that. And whether that's decades or however long it takes, I'm willing to take it. But I will not be satisfied until that's completed.
Well, I think
But
what's
that sounds like
interesting.
ambitions, Arna. Like, because Jeff Bezos did build something that is very satisfying.
No, it's an emotional thing. It's an emotional thing, I think, because when you are constantly like obsessed with trying to do more and do more and do more and do more, then you don't even have a clear guideline of like what are the things that I actually want. I think that wanting to do more is usually an issue with not actually knowing what you want now. Because a lot of people will get what they want and then they'll just keep wanting more. And it's like, I don't think that's
Why
how
don't
the
we break it
world
down a
works.
little bit more about what we are
Well,
satisfied with? So I'll start. For example, I'm
yeah.
very satisfied with my health, touch wood, at the
Touch
moment,
wood. Okay.
right?
Gotcha.
And I'm not saying I'm in the best shape. I'm not saying I cannot do more. I'm not saying that there isn't room for improvement. And I'm clearly not like like a six-pack person or anything like that. But there are specific things I'm very satisfied with. I'm satisfied with the fact that I can finish an hour of Orange Theory or Barry um, in a workout format. I know your mother hates when I say it, but I am satisfied because it's about me. I'm satisfied with the fact that I'm not on a medication. I'm satisfied with the fact that I can walk, I can run. And I didn't feel this way when I was 25, health wise. I felt that my health was just
Wow.
constantly deteriorating, right? I wasn't in control of my health. I felt that I was, I had started to lose hair around that time. I started to feel like, I was gaining weight all the time. I was eating poorly. I was not sleeping well. I felt very dissatisfied from a health standpoint, which I don't today when I'm about to turn 50 at the end of this month. So, for example, that is something I'm satisfied with.
Bridge,
So,
what are
Zona,
you
what are you
satisfied
satisfied?
with?
Hmm.
Wow, Dad, you and I are so aligned right now. We're like the satisfaction gurus. This is like
Yeah,
gratitude
I'm just
journaling,
saying
but on
that
the
there
pod.
are plenty of things I'm not satisfied with, but there is this one that I am, which is health.
Yeah, I think I'm
Okay.
very. I don't think I'm really satisfied in any realm of my life right now. I think that I'm always constantly looking. I feel like I'm always constantly looking to improve upon whatever I have and look at all my
That
weaknesses
doesn't
and
mean you
recognize
can't be
them and want to improve
satisfied
it.
with something though.
Yeah,
You can be
satisfied is
I
different
think
than
it does.
comfortable.
Because Dad's not pushing himself as hard as he possibly can, maybe, if he's saying that he's satisfied. Maybe he could be even better, but he doesn't even know it because he won't push himself that extra mile. And I think it's worth noting that
I
Veer,
without
mean,
being
with that
satisfied, you push
approach,
yourself.
Bridge,
Yeah, but there's
then
always gonna be better. Like, what are you gonna say to The Rock when you're saying like get bigger? What are you gonna say to him?
No, it's about prioritizing, and also he's reached. I don't look like The Rock. If I wanted to look like The Rock and that was my goal, why would I be satisfied when I know I have to push myself harder to reach that goal? That doesn't make
But
sense. And
just
I'm just
saying
saying
you
that
can.
all of the different things I'm not satisfied with, I then rank on my priorities and work on each one until I become closer towards my goal of satisfaction, and then move on to the next one and keep going more and more and more on each thing until eventually I realize what's the most important thing, and then maybe I'll get satisfied in that thing and then move on to the next.
I think that
Rich,
you can.
not being
Yeah.
satisfied is not a is something that is also can be the cause of a lot of aggravation and misery in life. Like, of course, it's good to have ambition. Of course, there's no question about that.
hmm.
But not being able to see, like, your dad has made a huge progress in his health.
Actually,
Huge.
you know what? I have something, Bridge, that I would like to ask you. Are you satisfied in your personal romantic relationship?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very satisfied in the relationship I
So
have
there
with
you
my
go.
girlfriend.
So
But
there you
it's
go.
not like
There is something.
but then you see how that becomes so easy because if I become so satisfied with it, then it's like I'm never looking. I stop looking at the rest of the world, saying, "Okay, I have enough. I don't need a better relationship or something." And it's not like I'm looking for other people, but that doesn't mean I shouldn't be like just assume that this is the girl I'm gonna marry, right? Because if I'm satisfied, all assuming, then you would think that I'm not looking towards any more red flags or anything. I think
Okay.
that when it comes to being satisfied, instead of saying satisfied, I like to think I'm not concerned with it at the moment. It's kind of how I would think. It's like I'm not concerned with my relationship at the moment. I think it's all good right now. That doesn't mean I'm like super satisfied and like ready to commit.
Understood.
well, I think satisfied is very different than comfortable. And I feel like you are equating the two. Like, I think it's good to not be comfortable, right? To just not actively be thinking about what you want and where you want to go. That to me is the symptoms of being comfortable. Satisfied to me is more similar to grateful, right? Like, actually taking a step back and looking at your life and thinking, wow, I've been given so much, I've done so much. I feel really content with what is in the world right now. Now, I'm not saying that I'm a satisfied person. I actually think that that's a source of deep sadness in my life. I had a really big day on Friday where I was able to do a lot for the business, and instead of actually taking a step back and being like, wow, this was so great that I did this, I feel satisfied. The next day I woke up and I was completely like and utterly depressed. Like I literally was
Why though?
I was dissatisfied on Saturday after having this big day on Friday because I wanted to produce the exact same results, if not better results, than what I did on Friday. And I felt like I wasn't there. I felt like my energy wasn't there.
So
And
were you
then
satisfied?
no,
Or you're
I
saying you're
wasn't.
not?
I was
But
not
then,
satisfied.
okay, sorry. Like, I'm sorry,
What
sorry. Finish your point.
what I'm saying is that if you measure your satisfaction by hours and days, you'll never be satisfied because the highs and lows are so continuous, right?
Okay,
Whereas if you actually take a step back and you look at the larger picture, I should be satisfied. I've been doing so many great things and I'm so grateful for everything that's been happening. So I think that's the way I would think about it.
and I just like push back in a little bit because I feel like you're almost speaking to my point about not being satisfied because you weren't satisfied. You grew an an extra hunger towards making even better deals, doing even better stuff the next time, which is
No.
proving my point that satisfaction is the same thing as being comfortable almost. And if you're satisfied, you will get comfortable. And again, what Dad has done is so impressive. I'm just using it as an example because that's the only thing that's been brought up so far. He is satisfied with his health. So he is comfortable in where he is. So he's not looking to improve upon it, which is why, he's not taking medication. He doesn't need to. He's comfortable just doing the same amount of workout he does in a week. I'm not saying that what he's doing is lazy or anything. I'm just saying that because he's satisfied, and I would say the same thing as him being satisfied leads to him being comfortable, which makes it so that he
Yeah, you're right
reaches
there.
Well,
progress.
Bridge,
To
wait,
to
Dad.
to
Wait, Dad.
extend.
Dad, can I have one point? I want to add one point because we're having this back and forth. Bridge, I actually made this realization. One reason why it is beneficial for Dad to actually be satisfied in this version of health that he has is because now in the other parts of his life that he's unsatisfied with, he can invest more energy in. So, for
Yeah,
example, with women, no, but hear me out
but
because you're
okay.
saying that it's not good to be satisfied with like all these different parts of
Hold
your
on,
life,
but
and
I
it's
addressed
better.
that point in my first monologue, but sure. Like I literally said, I agree that if you become close to satisfaction in something, you should definitely reprioritize into other things you're not as satisfied with. You're not concerned with at the moment. That's why I brought up that point. If you're not, he's not concerned with his health at the moment because he's doing so well with it and he's comfortable with it right now. That doesn't necessarily mean he needs to be like super satisfied with it and never look at it again. It just
But
means at the moment other things are priorities.
I think I understand that and I agree with that, but I think being unsatisfied to the extent that you're not able to actually move forward from that thing to other things is really dangerous. And what I'm saying is that to me, the way you're describing satisfaction is almost insatiable, right? Like Dad works out almost every day. Like he's taking it
No, no,
so
not every day.
seriously,
No, not every day.
but
That's a bit much. Yeah. Mm.
very frequently. And so for him to have to perform at that level to be satisfied with his own health is almost an unrealistic expectation to have of anybody. Right? Like that's a really high like that's one of the
Yeah.
two or three things that he focuses on. So what I'm saying is that if you hold that standard to everything that you do, then you might not even have the right priorities in place.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, I want to use a basketball analogy here for anyone who understands basketball. Like when you're practicing for basketball and you're trying to get better at basketball, there's so many different things you have to learn. You have to be good at defense. You have to be good at layups. You have to be good at 3-point shots. And you might be the best layup maker in the world. You might make so many layups, but you might be terrible at threes. But that doesn't mean that when you're working on threes now to get better at it, your layups will just suddenly like you're just satisfied with your layups. You still have to work on it, just not as hard as you're working on the other thing. So I'm just saying it's not as much as like I think we're looking at satisfied as a word completely differently right now, and that's like our place
Yeah,
of
I
disagreement.
think also in general the overall theme of what I was going at is just a feeling of we're falling behind. I wasn't even talking necessarily about, I think in a world, and I'm very pro social media, so there's no hate here from me at all. But in a world where you can constantly see other people's achievements,
Hmm.
and people are constantly talking about other people's their own achievements, and of which I am one, so I am not excusing myself of it. it is hard to keep perspective, because every day you wake up and you think, oh my god, if you're following 1,000 people, at least 20 of them got something new every single day. So every single day you have 20 reminders that somebody else is winning at something, and you might still be feeling like where you were. It's a feeling of being left behind almost.
But I would
and
argue
i and
that's a good
I'm like,
feeling.
yeah, I understand the motivation for it. I understand what you're saying, and I understand that it makes you probably more productive. Probably that's why you wake up and you think, what am I working on? But
I thought that's what we liked
there's
about.
also a negative aspect to it that's undeniable. There is room in life to be happy and to be somewhat content. I mean, we can't all be living through life every day thinking, okay, today my health is not a priority, but I'm going to make my business my priority. I have come to learn the importance of what they call white space in art.
I have
Mhm.
White
no idea
space.
No,
what is
you
it.
have not. There
Yes, I
is
have.
no way you just said that right now. There
That
is
what do you mean?
no way you just said white space in art. When was the last
Yes,
time you even saw art?
I know, but I know what
Do you
art
mean white
does.
space or do you mean negative space?
Yeah, I
No,
think you
but
mean
it's the
negative
same thing.
space.
It's the
No,
same
because
thing.
Both.
I
It's
came up with
they.
negative space. I bring
No,
up a lot.
white space is how I see it. It's where you take a step back. You
It's okay.
take a step back and let the thing breathe for a minute. I've been guilty of not doing it with my own work, and I've learned the importance of it. Sometimes when you're in go, go, go mode constantly and you're white knuckling through life, which I feel like I'm white knuckling through life constantly. Do you know what white
Yeah.
knuckling is?
No.
It's like,
Yeah.
it's a rafting term. When you're like holding on so tight and trying so hard to survive and trying so hard to succeed, it's just something even I find unattractive about it in my own life. That what am I doing? Like, take a minute. Jeez, like a lot of things have gone
Jeez.
right. Lot of things have gone right, and many things go wrong, which people don't know because we don't post about it constantly. 100 things go wrong constantly, but net, you've got to have a minute to take some gratitude and be like, you know what, we're doing okay. What is this inner resistance, Bridge? Especially in your case, I feel like you have an inner resistance to saying this is okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
But I,
Well,
I
he came
don't think
up with
that
that whole. He came up with the whole. His whole thing is. What's the expression you used
I mean,
on
I
your
get
social
it. He's 19 years old. He is the very definition of angry young man. I mean, that used to be a thing when Amitabh Bachchan in the 70s and 80s made movies, or he represented the angry young man. Every movie was a movie about what he's angry at with the system and how he's going to beat it. And that is, I mean, I feel that way right now with Bridge, and I get it. It's a function also of age. But I'm talking to a broader picture of like feeling like you're being left behind, like you're not ever going to succeed. Does anybody in this room right now feel like, what, I'm never going to succeed? Zoya and Dad, because you're raising your hand, I just want to make sure that our audio team
I
knows.
mean, what else can raising of hand be in
but
No,
Dad,
because
you
no,
already
but
succeeded. What are you talking about? Like how could
No,
see,
like it's
no,
not
no, no. But like the hits that I've taken over the last few years to come out of it, to further contribute, to regain my investment stature and all that, I do feel like I'm leaving behind. And many of the colleagues that I graduated college and business school with are doing amazing, amazing, really big things. Undeniably, your mother is right about feeling like left behind when
I feel
comparing
left
yourself.
behind. I feel left behind in the world of AI. I feel I've made a commitment to myself that every week I will learn at least one new AI tool. And it's a Sunday practice for me. And it's been compounding. And I really recommend you do it if you're watching this podcast. You don't have to do anything so severe. You just look up what are the AI tools being most used right now and just use it. Don't read about it. Don't ponder about it. Actually try and use it. Just play with it. And if you're using ChatGPT already, instead of using ChatGPT, try a different chatbot. Try Perplexity, try Claude, try different things. I actually really believe in that. And let me know how it goes because I'm working on that myself. But in the world of AI, where so many aspects of our life and work are fundamentally changing, I feel left behind if I'm not working in this space. To me, AI is so important. It's like this giant wave. And I'm like, whoa, am I going to miss out on the big internet boom if I'm not working directly in this space? Now, the counterpoint to that is if you're using these tools and you're learning how to make your own workflows more effective, then you are effectively part of that wave. But to me, having graduated from like a very tech centered part of the world, I'm constantly like, man, I just need to have an AI product or I'm going to just, it's over.
Okay.
And I think that's really sad actually because I love my work so much. And so I don't know. I think it's that, what is that meme, Mom? The Michael Phelps one that you always send me? We should have it pop up on the pod. But there's this photo that's very iconic of Michael Phelps steaming ahead and his competitor who lost by a millisecond.
I mean,
losing to
the one
him.
thing I will say to you is following the latest fad of the time almost never pays off over the 20-year run. You know, it just never does. Did I ever tell you my Sundar story? I told you my
No, tell
Sundar.
me.
I mean,
Tell
I
us.
don't know if I can take his name, but there was guy that graduated IIT with a couple of years ahead of me, and there was this alumni event in New York where the alma mater of IIT in New York was doing a sort of a get together, and I met him and his wife, and I was joining Morgan Stanley, which was a very prestigious job at the time, and he and his wife were joining a search engine company, and I was like making fun of him and his wife that who wants to do software and you'll just become programmers. You should join finance. And he said no, we like programming. And he and his wife said we're joining this company. It makes a search engine. I said what's a search engine? He says just random search engine company. Not gonna take. I mean there are not that many search engine companies. And he was employee 7 and 8. They were employees 7 and 8 at that search engine company, and he's now the CEO of the search engine company 25 years later. So my point in that story is not that he was capable enough to become CEO. The point of the company was that he joined that company when tech was very young. Nobody was even thinking about if you join that same company today, the chances that 20 years from now you'll do as well as he and his wife did is very low because they are now established companies. These are not like these are not risky ventures today. They were risky ventures then.
Right.
And Morgan Stanley was a safe venture then. And that firm has now become like Morgan Stanley today.
How do you navigate this fear of missing out aspect of satisfaction? Because I think a big part of being satisfied or like the feeling that you're being left behind is that you are afraid you're missing out. Do you
Well,
guys?
one thing that Baya tweeted about was that I really just am thinking about during this podcast is that why does everybody assume that they're going to get married but never assume that they're going to be successful? So through hearing that, I even before the tweet thought about this, but I genuinely want to be the richest man on this planet. Like I want to be above Elon Musk, number one, like 300 billion net worth, whatever it takes. No matter what, my goal is to be number one on this planet. And if I don't reach it, if I reach number two, I'd be grateful, but I just want to know that I gave it my all to become number one.
Wow, Veer, I didn't know that about
And then
you. How did you come up with that ambition?
Well, my friends are always like I say that to them all the time and they think I'm crazy for it. So I think I just like the feeling of being different.
Wow. Did you know that, Zarna, about Veer?
No, I know. I mean, him and I did talk about why don't people assume that they're gonna be successful before Bridges tweet, but his actual ambition I'm hearing about for the first time.
It's pretty incredible.
And then
even your Baya and Didi have never even said something like that. And they're
What are
pretty
you
ambitious
talking
themselves.
about?
Not the richest person. I mean, you're ambitious, but I've never heard you say, I want to be richer than Elon Musk. Have you?
No, I mean, I say other things that are like similar, but definitely not. But maybe I would have said that at Veer's age, though.
And then, Mom, to your question from earlier, the main thing in my life right now that I'm very focused on is the test to get into high school. So I'm going to use that as my personal example. So you were asking, do you feel like you're falling behind? And I can say confidently that if I don't work on it for a day or 2 days, I definitely feel like I'm falling behind. And I feel like somebody will take my spot.
And you're
And
already
not just
testing
that.
very strongly.
And not just that, but if let's say you get into your dream high school, you shouldn't feel satisfied that you got into your dream high school. You should celebrate it and be happy that it happened, but you shouldn't feel satisfied because that's not the end of the fight, right? Like after the high school comes the college. Right after you turn the corner And right after you turn the corner, you have to do 100 different activities and learn and strategize and be creative, but also put all your work and effort into it to get into a good college, right? So you can't just be like, a lot of people, the reason why I bring this up is because I know a lot of people who got into a high school, great private high school, great boarding school, great public school, whatever, and they got satisfied. They were just like, I got into the high school, I'm done. And then after that, they basically did nothing throughout college and nothing throughout high school, and all of their essays were like, I worked hard to get into this high school. This high school has opened up so many opportunities for me. This high school is like a 1.1% acceptance rate, and I can't believe I got in, right? That's all their essays are about, their high school that they got into. And then they didn't get into great colleges, or they didn't get into great programs, because that's not the end of the fight. Like, all the counselors and everyone knows that's not the end of the fight. Is getting into the high school is a first stone.
So, Bridge, how did you become this way? In other words, did you feel this way in when you were getting into high school and in high school as well?
Yeah.
We're going to take a brief pause to tell you about our sponsor for today's episode,
Monarch.
Monarch is the best financial management tool, personal finance tool on the internet. Honestly, one place where you can keep all your information. How much money you're making, how much money you're spending, your 401k, projections for the future. Are you going to enter 2026 without a clear understanding of where your money is going?
No, now that I know about Monarch.
So easy, and low-key, I'm a little addicted to it.
Yeah, it's
low-key,
really
I'm
nice
a little
to use.
addicted to it because it's nice when you don't spend as much as you thought you were spending. It is the best. You wouldn't know.
So good.
She wouldn't know,
Yeah.
but I know, and it's the best feeling in the world. And what's even better is having it all in one place.
Yeah.
One platform, one dashboard where you can see everything. That's why it's one of the best personal finance tools out there. It's been named the best by every magazine out there has called it the best for a reason.
This new year, achieve your financial goals for good. Monarch is the all-in-one tool that makes proactive money management simple all year long. Use code Zarna at monarch.com for half off your first year.
Half off.
That's 50% off your first year at monarch.com with code Zarna.
We're going to take one more second to tell you about our sponsor for today's episode.
The Real.
The Real. Her and my favorite luxury resale, authenticated luxury goods. Every brand you, me, and her love. Gucci, Fendi, Prada. All the things that you're like, I wish I could afford it. You know what? The Real makes it so you can. I don't know how they have 10,000 new things almost every day.
And it's the best because you can find rare and antique items and find things with price tags still on them in the highest quality. I mean, I've used the Real for my prom dresses, for red carpet events. The Real is the most trusted name in authenticated luxury resale. With over 10,000 new arrivals daily, no one does resale like the Real. And now get $25 off your first purchase when you go to therealreal.com/Zarna. That's therealreal.com/Zarna to get your $25 off. Start shopping now at therealreal.com/Zarna. Now back to the episode.
Because I came this way because reflect back on my life, and I can remember so many moments where I felt satisfied, where I thought I had done enough, and because of that, I didn't go the extra mile. And because I didn't go that extra mile, I really regretted it in the future, not going that extra mile or even extra marathon, because I was just so satisfied with where I had come. For example, with the SHSAT prep, I was testing well on all my mock tests, right? And that made me feel satisfied. I was like, you know what? I don't need to practice any harder because I'm already testing well. And because of that, like, feeling of satisfaction and not trying harder, I didn't get into any of the high schools I wanted to go to, right? And that led me to believe, like, that and other things like that. I'm like, why am I not, like, that feeling of satisfaction really hindered me, and it was my mistake, and I don't know why I thought that. I need to stop thinking that type of mentality, and it's not the right type of mentality in my opinion.
Well, I think it's so interesting, actually, because I feel like my issue with satisfaction is I've always felt like the dumbest person in the room. Like, when I was taking this exam, I literally did not think I was struggling so much. Like, I got way worse scores than both Veer
But
and
Zara, you were the first of the three taking it too. It makes a difference.
No, but
Like, when Veer is not taking it, he has insights from his two older siblings, and that's helpful.
But I'm saying that I feel like my mindset on it is so different because I always was really bad at, like, so many of these things. I think that's a testament to how it's so important. You know how they always say you want to be the dumbest person in the room? I actually think that really lends itself well to Bridget's whole take on satisfaction, because the reason why you want to be the dumbest person in the room is because you will never be satisfied, because you will see the people around you and they will inspire you to do better. It's the same effect as, like, in studies, if you incorporate, there are studies on corporate America and stuff where it says that if you put a killer in a room and you seat that person next to some so-so people, those so-so people will dramatically increase their performance. Like, this is just a known fact. Why is that? Because they're seeing the killer every day and they're thinking, what is it about that person that I can emulate in myself? Or how can I be more like them so I don't feel like I'm leaving behind? I feel left behind. So I think the real question is, how do we get this feeling of feeling like you're not doing enough? How do we mitigate it enough so it doesn't destroy us? You know what I mean? Because that feeling is actually good.
Because if what Bridge is saying is right, and I think we all agree that it is, that it's not getting into high school, then there's college, then there's a job, then there's a promotion. So the point is, how do you go through life without this thing drowning you, keeping you motivated and ambitious, but also helping you keep perspective? Because
Yeah.
clearly it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. You're not like, you can't go through life constantly in bursts of like, if live or die, if I don't achieve this, I'm gonna die. Because I do think that I have a tendency of doing that. I have a tendency
I
of
think,
believing that.
one thing I can suggest, and I've found this very useful in the last few years, is to measure life with moments instead of time, right? Rather than think of it as passage of time, think of it as important moments that constituted that life. And I find that very, very useful.
Like what? Give me an example.
So now I think of the moments in the last few years, so for example, of you winning the first thing that you won, the book competition, or Zoya's graduation, or Bridge getting into Cornell, or we taking this exam. Each one of these are me starting Tesseract. I find each of these moments as sort of as the sort of the sum of the life that I have, as opposed to, oh, it's been 5 years since Zoya got into college, or it's been a year since Bridge got into college. Do you understand what I'm saying? The distinction between the two.
Yeah.
I think
So
that
the sprinkling of these events ends up being sort of a more important measure of life, as opposed to the time since then or the time that has passed along the way.
I think that you need to.
So I don't measure my life as years. I measure my life as the important events that it constitutes.
I
Do
think
you,
that
do you
need
keep
to,
track?
Wait,
Hold on
can
one
Veer-
second, Veer. Yeah, 1 second, Veer.
Like,
We'll come back to
Mom.
it.
Yeah.
I want to ask
Bro.
him one question, a follow-up question on this events thing. Do you also keep track of events, of failure events?
Yes.
Because everything you mentioned are all the high points.
Mhm.
So do you also remember, like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened, and
Yeah.
how did I let that happen?
Yeah, I mean, I obviously less so, because it's like I mean, how fun is it to think about the failures? It's not as fun, right? Most human tendency.
No, I'm just
would be-
asking. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
get it.
actually I don't. I try to just forget about the failures.
Okay. All right. Now, Veer, what were you saying?
I think that you need to measure. You need to, first of all, regardless of the fact that there's always going to be a next corner to turn, I think that you need to be able to be grateful for the moments that did go well. That's the first thing. You need to always stay ambitious, obviously, but I think you need to be able to be grateful. You need to have gratitude, and you need to know what things in life that you are happy about. As much as there's always more ahead, I think that you definitely, like, it's different for everybody, but one thing I prioritize is my happiness. I want to always be a happy person, whether I achieve my goals or not. So I think you need to find what really does make you happy.
But
stay
Veer,
consistent.
that is
It's gonna be
completely at
hard.
odds. That is at
Yeah.
odds with wanting to be the richest anything. Because I will
Yeah.
tell you that the people who make it to the very top are pretty miserable people.
Yeah.
Of anything, because the journey is miserable. It
I
will
think
beat
the
the life out
journey
of
is
you.
miserable, but I'm saying, like, just there doesn't have to be 100 things. I just think one thing. It's like, it's not impossible to just have.
Yeah,
one thing that
I
makes you
agree.
happy.
Veer, I agree with you, by the way, and I actually think what Mom is saying. Yes, it's true that a lot of people at the very top are not happy. That is true, but at the same time, I agree with you that having happiness in your energy is extremely important, and thereby it's. I agree with you that you need to find those things. It's so important.
But you can't agree with him and me both.
No, I'm not
That's
Two
not
agreeing.
different
this topic.
points.
They're two
I will
different
say
points.
I'll say, like, well, as we're getting closer to wrap up, that there is a negative side to being, have this mindset of always being hungry. I think that a lot of the interactions I'm in, especially with groups of people or random people, and because I have a very strong, like, I'm a very competitive person, and I like to be hungry in every aspect of my life. Like, I like to get better at basketball. I like to get better in the gym. I like to eat better than other people. I like to, all these random things in life. Like, I like to do stupid stuff. And I feel like a lot of the time now when I'm hanging out with people, they just like are actively trying to beat me in something, whether we're doing like cooking or whatever, like not even a competition, just literally just living life. Like I feel like it's actively in a battle almost in a lot of the interactions I'm with. And I felt like I've lost a lot of friendships and a lot of different things because it's become difficult to be like, to strive to be the best in the world, but also manage like having friendships and not like seeming out of touch to other people. And I think that it's becoming hard to be not out of touch while being hungry, while trying to manage different things. It's just becoming a lot. So I think recently I've had to think about a lot of the sacrifices I'm making. Like, am I comfortable losing a lot of the friendships, losing a lot of the social interactions where you have a lot of fun and you don't really talk about work, just so I can like have that ability of being hungry and then being competitive and keep working on myself to become better and smarter and capable. And I think that's one negative side, is like it's really hard to balance life as you're trying to be hungry.
It's true. And what price
Wait,
are
can
you
I
willing
just
to
talk
pay
about?
for it? Yeah.
Can I just talk about Roman antiquity for a second? Some myths. Like the Greeks and the Romans were obsessed. They were obsessed with insatiable ambition. Like this was something that they talked about all the time. So for example, in the Icarus myth, the father of Icarus, he makes him these wings so that Icarus can fly out of this prison situation. And Icarus is a young man. He's around Bridges' age. And he, as he's flying, his goal is to get out of this cave so that he can go meet his father. But instead of that happening, he gets so caught up with being so obsessed with flying so high that he burns in the sun and then dies. And his dad sees him die. Then, like, for example, there's other myths where, Sisyphus, I'm pronouncing his name wrong, like, he's doomed to basically
I love this story.
Yeah, this man is doomed to roll a giant boulder up a hill. And he's rolling this boulder up a hill. And every single time he's right about to get to the tippy top, the boulder comes down on him. And he starts over, and he starts over, and he starts over. And he just can't, his whole life is that. Bridge, do you want to...
And something I want to say about the syphilis story too is that in the entrepreneurship seminar I'm teaching this semester, one of the major things I talk about, the first thing I talk about is actually the syphilis story. Because I think when it comes to entrepreneurship and when it comes to trying to be the best in the world, that is how life goes. Like you continuously push this boulder as far as you can every time. Every time you push it, it will roll back down. And it's like, how many times are you willing to push this boulder up knowing it will roll back down? How many times are you going to do it just for the one time it goes over the hill?
Wow.
Okay, I mean, this episode has become
become
like a litany of all the things that we're not satisfied about. So before we wrap up, I want all
Wait,
of
can
us...
I just finish my point? Can I just finish my point?
Yes.
It is human nature to want more. It is not unique to this family or to our podcast viewers who probably are hearing this and feeling the same way as Bridge and Veer, that they want so much and they want to be the best and all this stuff. Humans want to be the best. That is just what we are. And so it is our prerogative to actually tame that so that we can continue to take action and keep moving forward. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not actually like this. It's not this medal that you want so much. That is something that you were given just by being a human being. So actually knowing how to balance it so that you can go and actually take action and not be so bogged down by it that is the feat.
Okay. And I do agree with that. And I guess that's why all the men are obsessed with the Roman Empire right now, because they're trying to understand all this.
I mean, just every podcast you have to make it about men and women, Mom. Like, you can't go a single podcast without making that divide.
But the women are not talking about the Roman Empire.
I'm just saying you haven't gotten a podcast in a long time where you haven't mentioned women and men.
And by the way, 300 years later, today, Romans and the Greeks are the least ambitious people. So it does change.
Is that true? Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
How do
They're
you
the
measure
most
that
holiday-
statistic? Is
I
that
mean,
a
it's just
measure?
the success through the country's success, I guess. The way the
Hmm.
countries today are.
Okay,
Humans in
That's
the-
not guys. That's not accurate. That's not accurate because the Roman Empire and the Greco-Roman, like, it spanned over multiple countries. Like, it's not
I
been
see.
siloed to what we
Yeah, but
imagine
it
Roman
is
priests
pretty
to be
much
spent.
all of
Anyways,
Europe.
yes.
It is pretty much all of Europe, though.
Yeah,
And
the Europeans
arguably,
today are the least
Yeah.
ambitious
Okay.
continent in the whole
yeah.
world.
can we go to good grades or Gargs?
I mean, now we're gonna get flamed for this hot take of dads that just dropped
Which one?
about how Europeans are least ambitious.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a fact of life. I mean-
Right before good grades.
No, not before good grades. I want to do one more thing because this episode became a litany of all the things we're not satisfied by. I want all of us in this room and all our listeners and viewers to take a minute and think about what it is that they are satisfied about. You're not allowed to say nothing. You can't say you're not satisfied with anything in your life. So, everybody in this room right now, name one thing they're satisfied
I
about.
already did.
And okay, just hold on. And everybody who's watching and listening, take a moment and say to yourself, this is one thing I'm satisfied about. No explanation added, no caveats, nothing. I am happy. I have this in my life. So your dad has said, I'm happy with his health. Anybody else wants to go next? We're going to take a brief pause to tell you about our sponsor for today's episode, Wild Alaskan Seafood Company. When was the last time you bought seafood from a grocery store and you were like, is this good? Is this bad? Did it come frozen? Is it fresh? Is it farmed? Put an end to all of that. Wild Alaskan Seafood Company. I'm telling you, this is some of the best seafood I have bought, and I buy it especially for my kids because they love eating fish. But I'm a vegetarian who learned how to appreciate seafood. It's been a learning curve, and I don't trust almost anything that I see at the grocery stores. This company has made it so easy. Look at the sizing, individually portioned, outstanding quality, never farmed, 100% wild caught, and full of nutrients. Look at the quality. Look at the quality and the size. This has been a life-saving, and my kids love it. My kids are the pickiest eaters. If something has a hint of anything artificial, they will not touch it. They love the Wild Alaskan seafood. I love it. I highly recommend that you try it. Not all fish out there are the same. Get seafood you can trust because there's a lot of antibiotics and GMOs and stuff out there. You'll never find that stuff in this stuff. Go to wildalaskan.com/Zarna for $35 off your first box of premium wild-caught seafood. That's wildalaskan.com/Zarna for $35 off your first order. Thanks to Wild Alaskan Company for sponsoring this episode.
I am satisfied about my ability to be alone, like,
Okay.
and hang out by myself alone. I'm really proud of that. I 5 years ago, when I was one of those people where I needed a constant stream of notifications in order to be happy. And I now am able to, like, eat alone and go to farmers markets alone and do my thing. And I think it's made me a lot more successful and a lot happier. And more than that, a lot more original because I'm not, just constantly consuming the ideas and personas of other people. So I'm very satisfied with that.
Okay. V,
I'm
Bridge?
satisfied with my relationship with everybody and role in this family.
Okay.
Oh, I like that. Bridge.
Aww.
Very deep and good. Thank you. Bridge, do you have
I'm-
anything?
I'm satisfied with the fact that I think that I'm comfortable with and recently became comfortable with the fact that I don't think that, people are going to understand me for a long time. Like, I feel like I'm living a life and I'm living a way that people are just going to continuously not understand, not agree with, disagree with actively with a lot of the things I do and say and opinions I have. But I'm satisfied with that. Like, I understand that that's how it's going to be. And I'm not willing to compromise because I believe in myself. So I'm not willing to compromise to the fullest extent to make sure everyone's happy. I'm satisfied with that.
Okay, cool. And I'm satisfied that I found a career that at least I have an idea what to do about. It took me a long time to get here, and I'm very happy that I found it. That's all. And everybody who's watching and listening, please think to yourself, what is the one
Wait,
thing
what was
that you're
Dad
happy
satisfied
about?
with?
His
Health,
health.
I
He
told-
said it at the
yeah,
very
yeah,
beginning.
Sorry.
His
And
health.
now, as we
It's
end
so,
every...
it's so interesting because this exercise was so beneficial for me because I literally have a list brewing in my head of all the things I'm satisfied with.
Oh, that's good. Like I thought you would say all the things I'm not satisfied with. But that's good if
No,
you're
no,
feeling
it
that way.
actually triggered something in my mind. Yeah, 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 yeah. Anyways,
Okay. Anyway,
as you were saying,
this was our episode on how not to feel like you're always falling behind. Do you feel like you're always falling behind? We would love to hear what you think, how you feel, what are the strategies you are using to either cope with that feeling or you're comfortable with that feeling. Tell us what you think. We're reading all the comments. We try our best to respond to all the comments. And as we end every episode of our podcast with a round of good grades with Garg, so too we will be ending this episode with good grades with Gargs, where each Garg gives another Garg a winning grade, an A grade for the winning moment of the episode. The most entertaining, the most enlightening, the most educational. So, who wants to go first?
I'm gonna give my A grade to Didi for her story about syphilis.
it's
It's Sisyphus.
Sisyphus. I can't remember.
Sisyphus. Something like that.
Sisyphus. It's
So
something like
I'm
that. Yeah, I don't know
giving
why I'm
her
remembering.
the A grade for the story about the boulder up the
Okay.
hill.
All right, cool.
Yes.
Zoya, you wanna
I'm
go
gonna give
next?
my A grade to mom. Yes, I'm gonna give my A grade to mom because I loved this topic. I think it's really unique. I really am curious to see what the podcast viewers feel and think about this feeling. I honestly am coming out of this conversation with a lot of thoughts that I want to really think about. So thank you.
Okay.
I'm going to give my A grade to Bridge for the intensity. I mean, whether or not I agree with his satisfaction and dissatisfaction comments, I do like the intensity a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
A man his age should be an angry young man, the way he is.
I'm gonna give my A grade to Didi because I think that she had a good pushback in the start of this episode. I think it's good dialogue to understand, and not this isn't something I think where it's like one size fits all. I think everyone has different perspectives. And one thing might help someone a lot, one thing might help somebody else a different way, and I think it's good to have multiple perspectives on this topic.
True, true. And I'm going to give my A grade to Bridge because I think he is. What I've seen in this episode is that despite all the anger and hate that he gets often for speaking his mind, he stays the course and he's actually demonstrating what he said today, that he has become comfortable with knowing that people are not going to understand him for a long time, and that's okay, and that's a part of growing up, that's a part of wanting to be successful, and that's a part of, and that is a price that you pay for success. So I saw it in real time in this episode. We all know that he gets a lot of hate in the past episodes because he speaks his mind, and for that I give him the A grade. And we would love to hear who you want to give your A grade to. When you heard this episode, did you resonate with anybody? We would love to hear what your family thinks about this topic, because your feelings of being successful or content or not content don't just affect you, they affect every member of your family. We all live with each other, and we know when you're angry, when you're happy, when you're upset. So we would love to hear a full spectrum of family opinions on this. Please, if you enjoyed this topic, like, share, and subscribe this episode, because it helps us when more people come in with different perspectives and give us their perspectives. We This was a very heavy topic. I thought that we tried our best to navigate delicately. And until we meet again, everybody say bye.
Bye.
Bye.